Yep.
Hey, welcome back,
Hey
guys.
guys.
Another week of college football. Me and Matt are the only ones here.
Yeah.
Last desperados here. Got Alex still doing his welcome to daddy life, and Chad is out
Yep.
there. I think he's in the Bay Area. He said. I mean,
Yeah.
good Lord, out there in San Fran and Oakland. I didn't catch why he's out there, but hopefully he's having a good time. Uh, let's just jump right into it, man. A lot of games.
Okay.
Can't say that we watched a lot of these games. Can't say
No.
I was on
No.
easy street. Well, go ahead with the first one. Right?
First one was a noon Big Ten contest between two ranked opponents, Michigan and Indiana. Now going into this game, Indiana is definitely the early on surprise team in the Big Ten because you did. I mean, how many people had them number 13 in the country and 2-0 starting out the season, especially when they started out the season
Well, you
at
didn't
home
ask
versus
me.
traditional.
You didn't ask me. I probably would have had him.
Oh Lord, yeah,
Nobody
I'm
ever
sure you
asked
would have.
me if Indiana was going to be undefeated.
Yeah, nah, it. But watched a little bit of this game. Indiana could do pretty much whatever it wanted to on Michigan's defense. I mean, they could throw it, they could pass, they could run it. Michigan just had no answers for that quarterback, and I mean, I think he ended up throwing for almost 400 yards in this game, and
Hmm.
he was just shredding them. My goodness, Indiana just opposed its will on offense, and defense had a few lapses there late. Michigan trying to get back into it, but ultimately Michigan turned it over one too many times, and it cost them. But Indiana is clearly a team to be reckoned with in the Big Ten, behind Ohio State. So in that division, and
Absolutely.
I and my funniest takeaway from this was in the post game presser, Jim Harbaugh said that he still thinks Michigan is still good to go even after a 1-2 start. So
Let's go. I
yeah,
believe
let's
in
go.
them, especially hosting,
Believe the hype.
especially hosting Wisconsin next week.
Oh yeah, hosting Wisconsin, who's not played, and
Yeah.
yeah, that
Wow. Now
oh
I
Harbaugh.
think Wisconsin's got back in easy. A little
I
preview for
do too.
next week.
Oh yeah,
I didn't watch very much of this game, but I did take away, and it's kind of something I've been feeling for a little bit, is that Ohio State and Penn State have set the tone, and the rest of the conference is responding. You've got to play big boy offense
yeah,
in that league. For years, the Big Ten was kind of a joke about 3 yards in a cloud of dust. That was the style of everybody was running, and so it is nice to see Indiana and Maryland, stepping up a little bit and playing some big boy offense, and putting up impressive numbers. These powerhouses. I mean, if you were to tell an Indiana
yeah,
fan that they were going to beat Penn State and Michigan in the first 3 games of the season, I mean, they'd be on cloud nine.
yeah.
So,
Oh
look
well,
at
yeah.
that Ohio State game. Don't sleep on Maryland either. I mean,
No,
all right, the second game of the day. Oh, in that game, I think me, Matt, and Chad picked Michigan, and Alex picked Indiana. Uh,
yeah,
Second game of the day was the cocktail party, and buddy, it's what we've been waiting on. All right,
yeah,
and what Florida fans, if you've asked any Florida fan to compare, and Jesus, they'll tell you. I mean, it's what most Florida fans talk about 365 days a year. It's ridiculous. Uh, if you were to ask them about the Georgia game, they'd all tell you the same thing. Mullen is a better coach than Kirby Smart.
mm,
Georgia has an incredible talent gap over Florida. Um, I think we saw one. It's hard to say. Like, I think that Kirby's got to get a wake up call in this game. He's struggled in every single game. Um, he struggled against Alabama's. He struggled against pass happy, high octane offenses, and his style of play is just going to keep Georgia out of the playoff hunt. You know, they can make it to the SEC championship game. They can, play big games like this against Bama and Florida, and they're going to take L's because they cannot keep up with these teams, and that's what we saw.
Yeah.
I mean, Florida, Georgia jumped off to a 14-0 start. I'm sitting here texting everybody, texting Matt. Oh my God, here we go again. Another terrible start for Florida, and we'll see how that trend.
Yeah.
Because it's been that way every year. It's been Georgia jumping off their early start, Florida coming back. But this year, it was just Florida just being way better offensively than Georgia. I mean, it took off, and they didn't look back. Couple silly things in the second half. I mean, it's kind of becoming a trend for Florida. They got to get it fixed. They fall asleep when they're in a big lead team. We saw it with Ole Miss. We saw it with South Carolina. They take off. They have these impressive stats, and then they just kind of go in coast mode. You know what I mean? Florida didn't have. It had 350 yards production or passing in the first half. Ended up with like 100 yards passing in the second half. So, and the big thing was Kyle Pitts took that hit and went out. But I mean, if you look at Florida's numbers going into this game, it's not all Kyle Pitts. You know what I mean? So Florida's got to be able to fix that if they want to get where they want to get and win championships. But man, I was so excited. I'm the only one that picked Georgia to win that game, and I just felt like Georgia's pressure on the quarterback was going to get to us. It never did. I mean, it really didn't. They did come with pressure, and we did see Trask late in the game make mistakes with that pressure in his face. But in the first half, man, he was just ice in his veins. Standing in the pocket, didn't care, completing the ball down the field, and a lot of times open receivers. And I kind of told you a few weeks back that to me it looks like Georgia's one team, and that's shocking because they're filled with talent. I mean, they're the most talented team roster currently. If you look at the recruiting rankings, they are currently the most talented team in the country. But they look one deep in places. You know what I mean? They had some big players out. I mean, you can't just discredit that. You can't just write that off. I mean, George Pickens being out, Jordan Davis being out. I mean, they have big studs that were out of the game, but there was nobody there to fill it in to give anywhere near the production. Now I'm going to give George, whoever backed up George Pickens, because we saw the quarterback play. George was terrible, and that's a shocking name. But just in this game, just in the landslide, this is what everybody's been talking about. Florida just needs to get over the Georgia. Well, they're over the Georgia. So if they can finish out the season, and it's a favorable schedule. I mean, they shouldn't drop any of these games. They'll be favorites. There'll be multiple score favorites over pretty much everybody they have left on their schedule. Florida finally gets that monkey off the back of Matt. It feels so good. Did you watch much of this one?
Oh yeah, man. I watched this game from start to finish. This game, like I said in the preview video, is one of the non-Kentucky SEC games that I get hyped up for every year. I love Florida, Georgia, and having a close friend like you and my own brother, both big Florida fans. Just knowing how much you all have riding on that game, and usually the last several years now, and it was no different this year. The winner of this game is in the driver's seat to win the East and go to Atlanta and face either, mostly go and face Alabama. So and I agree with you. Florida's offense just settled in after the first couple quick score drives by Georgia, and Kyle Trask had ice in his veins. And I think another performance like that Trask had again on Saturday, you can't argue that he's not in the Heisman hunt. You really can't.
Yeah,
I don't. You can't. He's up there with Lawrence. He's up there with Mac Jones. He's up there with Justin Fields. I mean, and anybody that thinks differently is crazy. And it's just – but the one thing about Georgia I took away was one of our favorite YouTube personalities, Uncle Lou. He said it on his post-game banter video that he does after every Georgia game. Believe it or not, he wasn't yelling and screaming in this game. I figured he would have with the way you all
Just
dominate.
know he knows. I mean, Florida
Yeah,
looks
he
so
just
good.
knows. Yeah,
But go ahead.
and um, the one point he made that I 100% agree with. Why can Kirby Smart not get a quarterback? Why?
Mhm.
Why can he not get a quarterback?
Well, he got one.
Yeah, he got one.
And Lou's not been gunshot about saying that. I mean, he got one right
Yeah.
off down. You know what I mean? You got to at least put the guy in some place. I mean, Georgia was up 30 points in most games in that 2018 season, and he never got off the field and threw the ball. And that's just from what we're seeing at Ohio State, it's just unbelievably ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's going to cost them because now what they're left with, they have really talented. I mean, I could probably make an entire, hour-long video about this game.
Yeah.
But what we're seeing from Georgia now is what we saw with Florida in the late, early 2010s. I don't know how to say that, right? Muschamp has an incredible defense, has star receivers, has good running backs, has an all-star running offensive line. Are you there, Matt? It glitched out there. You good?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good.
They're loaded with talent, but then you have two quarterbacks that can't throw can't throw the ball in a pond. Man. It's terrible. I don't. They clearly don't develop quarterbacks. I mean that's a given.
No.
But it's like they just bust. I mean, how are they getting these bad of quarterbacks? I mean, one thing's a schematic thing. Like Georgia's going to run the ball, and everybody knows it, and they're going to protect the defense. They're conservative, so they may be getting still really high talented quarterbacks that kind of know who they are, and they're not going to these teams and playing the bench at Alabama. You know what I mean? They're not going to try to see if they can manage that because Alabama's bringing in top quarterbacks every year. Clemson's the same way, Oklahoma the same way, Ohio State the same way.
Yeah.
So you're still getting high talented quarterbacks, but not people that want to compete against all these other guys. So I don't know what the opinion on it. But we got other games to talk about. Again, like I said, I'm the only one that picked Georgia this week. So all three of you took the win. I took the win in real life.
Yes, you did. And that's the more important thing. You took the win.
I'll take it every time. I could be wrong every single one of the games. Florida keeps winning.
That's right.
The next game was I wanted to ping this one last week. Oklahoma State at Kansas State, and it didn't disappoint. The Big 12 is playing for their playoff lives with Oklahoma State. They at least need to have Oklahoma State win out. I mean, they might need some help from other games and other teams, but they at least need to win out with Oklahoma State. At least unless it gets really crazy, they're going to have Oklahoma State win the conference. And they go into Kansas State. I don't know if you've seen Kansas State. That quarterback for Kansas State, he's like that John Rice Plum out there in Ole Miss, man. He is electric. Like he loves to run the ball. And two things I wanted to highlight is LD Brown for Oklahoma State is a damn beast. I mean, he is scary good. You gotta watch this kid, man. He's a little bit undersized for a running back. I mean, as far as the height goes, but Jesus, man, he was running all over. I don't know how great Kansas State's run defense is, but he was literally just running over people like all game long. And he was Hubbard's backup running back. Hubbard got a little banged up, but they kind of split carries before that. He just looked light day better than Hubbard. Chuba is one of the best running backs in the country, so I can't imagine how good LD Brown. I didn't look up his season stats or anything like that, but he was pretty damn impressive. Kansas State got in a bad situation. Going for two in the first half cost them the game. It really did. They were trying to chase a few points. They kicked 2 field goals and a touchdown, so they decided to go for 2 right at halftime to give themselves a 14-point lead. But they didn't get it, and they ended up with 12 points. Well, that came to bite them in the ass because late in the game, they before that, the quarterback. I mean, they threw a perfect pass. They had the ball down to the 20-yard in the red zone, and then the quarterback took a ball right up the middle. And I mean, it was just one of those fluky plays where he has the ball, he's well protected, but one of the defensive linemen yanks his arm back and it flips the ball forward right into an Oklahoma State defender, and he takes it all the way back for a touchdown. So then Kansas State gets the ball back, and they're down by 8 because of the missed conversion. Well, they get down the field and score another touchdown, but they couldn't convert a 2-point conversion again. So if they would have just taken an extra point in the first half, they would have ended up winning this game. This game was fun. I only got to see the replay. I didn't get to watch it live due to the Florida game, but man, that was a fun game to watch. Didn't disappoint. It may have been. I mean, I know there's been some crazy. The Red River shootout was crazy. Texas versus Oklahoma State was pretty crazy. Texas versus Texas Tech was a little nuts. But this game didn't disappoint. I enjoyed every minute of watching the replay of it. I go ahead and assume that you didn't watch the game. You couldn't add too much more to that.
No, I'm just like you. I didn't get to watch any of this game, but I was looking at it on the timeline on the bottom.
Yeah.
On CBS, pop up top 25 games and everything going on. You're absolutely right. Oklahoma Big 12's livelihood for the playoff this year is Oklahoma State. They lose another one, it's over. And I actually, while you were talking, I actually just pulled up the rest of their schedule. They're off next week. Then they've got their in-state rivalry at Oklahoma on the 21st. And then they come back home and play Texas Tech the Saturday after Thanksgiving. And then they end the season with 2 road games at TCU and at Baylor. That's the rest of their schedule.
TCU is a scary game. I mean, obviously Oklahoma is, but Rattler's out. Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't hear about that. Did he get hurt this week?
Spencer Rattler, I didn't see an update or anything, but it did look like it was going to be a season-long injury. It was pretty bad.
Oh, wow.
So, at least, I mean, it was just a tweet. You know, it could literally just be a troll looking up, but from what I heard, he is out for the season. That sucks for Oklahoma.
That does suck.
Already struggling. Now they're going to lose their starting quarterback.
Yeah.
All right, let's move it on. These 2 games, these next 3 games, we're just going to blow by. I mean, I don't think either one of us sat down and really watched either one of these. Texas A&M killed South Carolina. What's new? Anybody, you got anything to say about that?
No, I've got nothing to say about it. I will actually say one thing. Texas A&M, are they – actually, this is more of a question to you really, but is Texas A&M, are they a sneaky team? Are they one of the ones that in the middle of December, like, pop in and are fighting for that 4th and final playoff spot? Or what do you think? Because, I mean, they got the 1 loss, but it was to Alabama. So
it's going to be interesting. I do think they need help. They certainly need help. Because if you're looking at the map right now, I mean, you're going to get Notre Dame, Miami, or Clemson, and it's looking like it's going to end up being Clemson. I mean, I just don't see either of those 2. Then you're going to see Ohio State for sure. I mean, Ohio State, Wisconsin has an outside chance, but I don't think they. I mean, Ohio State looks pretty damn good, and Wisconsin's dealing with all this. And you add to the fact that they had multiple games canceled. Who knows how the Big Ten is going to look at that? Right. And then Oregon. That's it. The roadblock. If Oregon loses a game, then Texas A&M probably has a really good chance to be in. Now they're competing with Notre Dame and Miami. I don't think Miami is going to end up getting a big win on the resume. So who you're comparing at the end is going to be unfortunate, but who knows? A&M has one of the biggest revenues of any college football team in the world, and they beat a top 5 Florida team. Okay, but then you get
Mhm.
Notre Dame, who probably has one of the largest fan bases in the country.
Yeah.
And definitely brings in a TV crowd. And their biggest win was against Clemson. So if Notre Dame wins out and loses to Clemson, then you're looking at now their biggest fan. They're going to be a big fan of Notre Dame because they're going to want Notre Dame to beat Clemson. So it's kind of interesting for they do
Yeah.
need is what I'm trying to illustrate because I think at the end of the day, you're looking at a one-loss Notre Dame team and a one-loss Texas A&M team. You're going to have to get and crazy things have happened, man.
It has. No, you're right.
You have a one loss. I don't think Oregon plays do that.
No.
Like they literally play nobody. They play California. I think it's their hardest game. So if I don't see a possibility where one loss Pac-12 team gets in.
No.
So they're hoping for all losses in the Pac-12. And they're hoping that Notre Dame ends up losing somewhere.
Right.
Okay, next game. Yeah, I was gonna say that Texas A&M is just handling business, and
Yeah, they are.
and
They're controlling their own destiny.
exactly,
So,
and they're
yeah.
doing it too.
Yeah.
We've seen teams that are controlling their destiny and they slip up. You know?
Yeah.
Next game is Arkansas hosting Tennessee. Man, is this a all-time low? I mean, they lost to Georgia State last year, right?
Yeah.
To open it up. The year before that, they went, or maybe 2 years before that, they went winless in the SEC. This might be the lowest of the low, though, because it's just 3 years in for Jerry Pruitt,
Right.
and then they lose to a team, Arkansas, who we know that they're playing a lot better than they were last year, but it's still Arkansas, man. I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
For them, it hurts. I'm not saying that Arkansas is a bad team by any stretch of the imagination. I think they're really good. They just, I don't think they have the threshold to get over some of the bigger teams. But Tennessee's got to be depressed, man. I mean, they just look bad.
Yeah.
And the players are quitting. I mean, it's just, you see it on the field. They're already quitting. I don't know. Jeremy Pruitt gave the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Said that he's not playing their freshman quarterback, Bailey, because he doesn't want Bailey to lose confidence like Garantano, because Garantano got thrown in right away. But you're playing in Arkansas.
Yeah.
I mean, in Kentucky, no offense, man, but they're playing Kentucky too.
Yeah.
I mean, lose confidence. You're not throwing these guys in, Tuscaloosa. You're not throwing them down in the swamp. You're throwing them against, winnable opponents.
Yeah.
And he said he's not playing them. I mean, that was the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. I've heard some dumb from Tennessee coaches, but that may be the dumbest for sure.
Yeah.
Arkansas handles business, man. Defense is so nasty. And then Felipe Franks, man, he's getting it done. I think the biggest thing that Felipe Franks gave that team was confidence, man. That kid, literally just oozes confidence,
Yeah.
Some of that's ill-advised. I mean, we saw him last year against Miami telling the camera, I do this, and then turn around and throw a pick the very next play.
I remember that.
He just oozes confidence, man. I think it's really what started Florida's turnaround was that confidence. You're seeing it in Arkansas too. Everybody top to bottom believes they can beat anybody in the SEC, and we're seeing that. Obviously, they handle business against Tennessee at home.
Yeah.
Now you want to cover the next one, Ohio State, Rutgers. I have nothing. I know they won.
Yeah.
I would have heard about it if they lost.
But yeah, before I move on to that next one, let me just say one more thing about the Arkansas Tennessee game.
Absolutely.
How about those Razorbacks? Hog wild.
They look good, man. I'm telling
They
you.
did, man. I went
I'm,
back
I'm
and
actually worried about next week, God. Just a little bit.
just a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. They just Arkansas is like Indiana. They're the surprise team of the SEC, in my opinion. I mean, you got to think they're a bad call away from being 4-2 right now, and being right there behind Texas A&M and Alabama for the SEC West, and Auburn, of course. But of course, Auburn's the team that they got the bad call against.
Yeah.
And I'm with you, man. I don't know what's going on in Rocky Top. Of course, I'm loving every self-destruction second of it because it's Tennessee. Fuck them. The day Tennessee goes 0-12, I know you and me will be throwing a cocktail party and getting hammered like there's no tomorrow. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, and I just love it, man. But we'll go ahead and move on to the next game, which was I believe it was Ohio State Rutgers.
Mm.
Yeah. Ohio State, from what I heard and what I saw in the highlights, Ohio State ended up winning this game by 22 points. Sorry. And but Rutgers was giving them a game there for a while. They were staying close with them. I believe they were within a touchdown of them for a while. No, Ohio State jumped out to a 35-3 lead, and then Rutgers was coming back on them. But then Ohio State got a late TD to put it away. Yeah. But, hey, man, Rutgers is competing. I mean, they're there. I mean, of course, I didn't think Rutgers would ever win a conference game, but let alone, compete with some of these teams. I mean, they were competing with Indiana last week. So,
it's baby steps for Rutgers, man.
Yeah, baby steps, yeah. And, like Chad said, Greg Schiano's going to have them – I agree with him. Greg Schiano's going to have them up and coming, maybe in the middle of the pack of the Big Ten here in years to come. So
yeah, I see them being like Northwestern was about 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, I can see that.
They kind of are a niche team. They kind of have their own kind. Yeah. 5 touchdowns from Field, 24-28. Boy, that's Jesus. Cooking. That's cooking right there.
Yeah.
They are good, man. I'm telling you. It's hilarious because the further we get away from Urban Meyer, like most people are starting to feel okay, not any knock on Ohio State or Ryan Day. It's just that Urban Meyer is such an elite recruiter. I mean, he went down Florida and out-recruited everybody in Florida, out-recruited Alabama, out-recruited basically everybody in the state of Florida. We all know that's a talent hotbed, And then you already got the Ohio State appeal where you get players from California, Texas, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Ohio. I mean, you're getting great players from the best football states. But I keep expecting Ohio State to not start losing a bunch of games and not like playing really bad. But you just see the gap closing a little bit on some of these other teams. But they're not doing that.
No.
Part of that is, you got a Heisman candidate, Justin Fields, just lighting people up, man. But top to bottom, they're just reloading everything. They're a really good coached football team, highly talented football team. So I look forward. Hopefully they get a good game here in this conference to kind of get them a little bit prepared for the playoffs.
Yeah,
but pretty smooth sailing until they get to the Big Ten championship for Ohio State.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. And let's talk about the big matchup of the week. Clemson at Notre Dame. Matt, you got to take this away from me, man. I had to painstakingly watch Tennessee and Arkansas, and I know I didn't talk about it too much, but I had to watch those teams. I just didn't buy into the Clemson Notre Dame thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, a great game to watch, but it's so irrelevant. I've never seen a top 5 game, and this is my opinion. This may have been a huge thing at the end of the year if Notre Dame can somehow win again.
Yeah.
I've never seen a top 5 matchup where you're just like, okay, who cares? Like, if Clemson wins, they went out, and they're probably going to beat Miami. If Notre Dame wins, now they got to go beat Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence, yeah.
In that defense at full strength,
Yeah.
It never felt like Notre Dame was going to beat it twice. So it just wasn't a compelling matchup. But go right ahead now.
Yeah. Nah, I mean, I can understand where you get that. I definitely what you were telling me before we started recording. I didn't think of it that way, but after replaying that in my head, I can definitely see where you're going with that. How it could be irrelevant and stuff like that. Overall, just as a football fan, this was a great game. I mean, double overtime, 47-40 ended up being the final. But the minute it went final, everybody's like, they didn't have Trevor Lawrence. So, that's always going to be the big thing. That's going to be the tank on it. But the one thing I will tell you is that Notre Dame did a very good job of, they shut down ETN really heavy. ETN had 18 carries for 28 yards and a touchdown and a fumble loss. So they've shut down. They did a very good job shutting down arguably one of the best running backs in the country.
Well, yeah. I mean, I still think that ETN. I mean, Kyle Pitts is pretty damn good, but I still think outside of the quarterbacks, ETN is the best player in college football.
Yeah.
How did Ian book? Because that's going to tell you about. I mean, of course he's going to get pressured a lot more because linebackers back, but that's the real storyline that's going to tell you whether Notre Dame is going to be able to do it or not.
Yeah. From what I saw from Ian Book, his stats were 22 of 39 for 310 yards and a touchdown. Yeah.
Wow.
So he carved up the Clemson secondary pretty good.
Yeah, that's the best game of his career. I mean,
well, yeah, he played lights out. I agree with you. He's been the starter 2-3 years now at Notre Dame. Yeah, that's the best game by far of his career.
And he's always looked good. I mean, he's probably put up those numbers a couple times. But playing like that, even if Clemson is out their best player on defense, at least the linebackers. I mean, those linebackers are nasty.
Yeah.
If he's doing that against Clemson, regardless of how you feel about their 2D, wow. Jesus, that's pretty good.
Yeah. And Tad, on to your point, you're absolutely right. Clint, next to being out their starting quarterback and Heisman favorite quarterback, they were out their three best defense players. Their number one defensive lineman and their two best linebackers. And
one of them, like the defense,
one of them
a beast for sure. But those linebackers are unreal. Like they just seem to always be on every play. They're the most instinctual linebackers I've ever seen in college football. I mean, they constantly wrapping people up, and they got the neck roll too, so that's pretty sick too.
Yeah.
Blast from the past.
Yeah, that's all right.
Big game though, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it was a big game, big time game.
I'll be
honest with you, I'm kind of hoping. I'm hoping they play again in the ACC title game. I think that's going to be a lot of fun to watch again.
You'd rather see them than Miami?
Well, I would like to see it again.
Good.
Miami's looking really good. I mean, they had a hell of a game against NC State on Friday night. But I'd like to see what Notre Dame does with Trevor Lawrence. Clemson's 100% full on go. What does Notre Dame do?
And that could be something. I'm serious. That could be something that Notre Dame. I mean, you want to talk about bulletin board material? Go out there and beat a team. A dethroned king, ACC champ. They like 28-0 against ACC teams the last couple of years. They go out there and beat them, and then everybody wants to sit there and talk about quarterback being out. I mean, slap that on every wall, locker room, the weight facility, everywhere. Just put that on. But you didn't beat Trevor Lawrence. That's what they should slap on everybody. We want to talk about motivation, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! But they gotta stay focused. They gotta keep winning games. They don't play Miami this year.
Nope.
Every other game on their schedule this morning. Have they played their out of conference game yet? I think they played.
No. Well,
they got played. If they don't play,
they actually don't play an out of Notre Dame's not playing an out of conference game.
I'm done. How did they get away? How did they get away with doing that? Like everybody in their conference has an out. I guess they got COVID and they canceled it or something.
Probably, yeah. They Notre Dame next week will go to Boston College, Then they've got a bye week. And then Friday the 27th, they go to North Carolina. Then Saturday the 5th, they come home and play Syracuse. And then they end the season Saturday the 12th at Wake Forest.
Yeah. See, now everybody in the country wants Notre Dame to play their independent schedule.
Yeah, exactly.
But who have they played? They played the ACC. That ain't nobody.
That's right. That's how Clemson they got
Hilarious how it works, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, think of what a USC game would have done for Notre Dame this season. You know, you're not out of the clear yet. But I mean,
That's right.
The ultimate argument, and it's never was the regular season. It's always you add a 13th game. That's why people want to see Notre Dame conference. That's why everybody hates them. You add that 13th game, you add a chance to lose. Because you go through a whole season, 12 games, obviously you're going to play some good teams. But you add that 13th game, and you're not only adding the 13th game, you're playing.
Yeah.
Usually the ACC is kind of struggles with doing it, right?
Yeah.
Most of the time, you're playing a really good team in that. You know, for the last couple of years, we've been seeing, Clemson versus Virginia. Clemson versus Wake Forest or something like that.
Yeah.
So you just add that extra element where you could potentially lose a game, and that's the argument we have with Ohio State for years. Is just play the team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously, Wisconsin hasn't had much luck with them, and I don't know if anybody else has won that conference, that division, in the last few years. But when you add that extra game, it puts that risk. That's something that SEC has been doing since the early '90s. The Big 12 did it for a while, and because of the conference realignment, they did away with it, and now they're back. It just makes it interesting, and that's exactly what's going to happen here, in my opinion. Now they're going to play Clemson, and now they're going to play Clemson at full strength.
Yeah,
and they still beat Clemson at a neutral site, no doubt. They're not in South Bend. Now they're going to play Clemson at their full caliber with all the marbles on the chance to go to the play.
Yep.
I just don't see them doing it, man. I just don't. I mean, call that, biased or not. I do not see them. This is the first Notre Dame big win in years. And if you beat Clemson in the ACC championship game, it would be the biggest win for Notre Dame football this century. I mean, they made it to the they got shellacked by Alabama in the championship in 2012.
Oh yeah,
it's big boy pants time for them. All right, Matt. Let's see. I'm gonna go down the list here. Looks like Alex went 7-0 this week.
Damn.
Alex was nailing them, man.
Yeah, he was.
The Indiana game, called the Notre Dame upset. Everybody else kind of just went back and forth with the same picks.
Yeah.
You and Chad had identical picks. And you guys went 5-2, and I went 4-3. Florida lost. The Florida game really hurt me, boys.
Yeah.
I lost a lot of sleep about picking Georgia. I lost so much sleep about picking. Let me tell you. Man. College football, we're getting to that point now.
Yeah.
And they may lose another game.
No.
They ain't even lost the game.
No, they even lost the game. No.
They ain't losing. Notre Dame's not losing until we're talking about going into the championships. We're not cut off the playoff. Get into the championship week. Let's talk about the two teams. There are three conferences that have been playing this entire time. It's too early to talk about the Big Ten. It's too early to talk about the Big Pac-12. We're seeing everything fall into place now. You got Florida, looks like the clear SEC East. Looks like you're definitely going to get Alabama in the West. And then outside of that, you have Clemson, Notre Dame, Miami in that conference. So the let me clear this up. So you got those teams that can play in the ACC championship.
Yeah.
Notre Dame and Miami don't play each other. So the worst thing that could have happened for them was Notre Dame beating Clemson, because now it's going to look like Clemson has the head-to-head against Miami. So Miami has to have Clemson lose another game or Notre Dame lose another game.
Yeah.
I don't know how their tiebreaker would work after that.
I don't either.
And then in the Big 12, you're looking at Oklahoma State, and then
That's it.
I mean, not to get to the playoffs, but to get to the conference. Somebody's got to get to the conference championship.
Yeah.
You got Texas, Oklahoma, Iowa State, I believe, still has 2 losses.
Yeah.
Filter on. There you go. Okay. Yeah, Iowa State. No, Iowa State is 5-1. Why are we not talking about them?
Oh shit.
And they're probably suffering from the same problem that Oklahoma State will end up suffering, even if they do win out.
Yeah.
Those 2 teams have to play each other, and they have to win out for
Yeah.
a team to get in, right?
Yeah.
Because who you can't hang your hat on the 2-loss Oklahoma, 2-loss Texas team.
No.
Yeah, West Virginia's got 3 losses. TCU's got 3 losses. And geez, the little beats. Baylor is 1-4. Texas Tech is 1-5. Their only win was against Oklahoma. That's nuts. And then God love the Matt 0-6.
Yeah.
Of all the teams to go to, it's crazy. Oh, let's do the totals. Not too, but yeah. It's getting close. I mean, we're getting to the final stretch. You know, who knows how it's going to shake out? But you're starting to see who the players are. You know, in the conferences. I think if you had to make a pick right now, Matt, who's going to win the ACC?
The SEC. Alabama. I'm just going with just with what with the way they've looked all year. So no, you're good.
Go ahead. Tell me why.
Just the way it. I mean, I know this is the most simplified, easy gut reaction that you can think of what I'm about to say, but it's Alabama. It's Alabama. I mean, they've got Saban. They've got a great quarterback, a quarterback that I questioned going into the season that, you kept telling me there's no question about this guy. He's the guaranteed starter. He's going to be good and all this. And then I completely forgot about their wide receivers and Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle. Of course, unfortunately, Waddle suffered that gruesome injury a couple weeks ago, and he's out for the season. But Devontae Smith's still killing it. And I'll tell you the other thing, a running back that I didn't really pay too much attention to, Najee Harris. Najee Harris is a fucking monster.
That's why I pick Alabama right now.
Yeah.
Right now, if I was to know that, because I haven't seen a large enough of a sample size for Florida's defense.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have to give Alabama the edge. I think that Florida did really well against Zamir White. Zamir White is a sophomore, I believe, and he didn't get a lot of playing time behind DeAndre Swift last year. So apart from that, I mean, the best running back in play so far. Nobody Najee Harris level. Let's just say that.
Would it be Roundtree at Missouri?
It might
that be the quote? Yeah.
It might be. The running back from South Carolina was hurting us, Harris.
Yeah.
And he's not that great. But yeah, I'd have to say the most prominent running back would either be Zamir White or Roundtree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Alabama. Who do you got in the ACC if you had to pick a team right now?
Right now, Clemson.
Clemson.
Yeah.
Clemson. I'm not picking Miami. That's for sure.
No, I'm not picking Miami now.
I don't imagine that Notre Dame's going to lose another game. Not with the schedule. I mean,
No.
maybe a few weeks back before we started seeing, you know, North Carolina's cards. I mean, circled that game and said, "Well, we'll see after that one." You know,
Yeah.
Notre Dame's not losing. Clemson won the head-to-head, and we're not going to see Clemson losing.
Yeah.
Especially now.
Oh yeah.
Oh no. So yeah, I'd have to go with Clemson right now. But Notre Dame, like I said, bulletin board material. They could literally.
Yeah.
We could be shocked as hell when we tune in on that weekend and watch that game. I mean,
Yeah.
Notre Dame could be roasting the fire. And then out of the Big 12, I mean, it could be one of 5 teams. So
Yeah.
it could be
Oklahoma
State, Iowa State, Kansas State, Oklahoma, and Texas. Those are the teams that still have a chance to be in the championship. And I think it's a toss-up. I do think that if Texas gets there, Texas wins it. But, you know, who they're going to play, who knows, and how's that going to work out. I'll tell you what, though.
Right.
I mean, that Kansas State kid, if it lines up and works out where they get in, they'll be a dangerous team because they should have won that ball. I mean, they really should have. They were really moving the ball in the first half, but just didn't capitalize. They didn't punch the ball in. And then they got caught chasing points. And then at the end of the game, they just fell short, 2 points.
Yeah.
Right. So, all right, let's wrap this video up with this is a long run time too. I mean, I keep looking up like, okay, are we hitting the 40-minute mark? Maybe it's just like in my imagination. I mean, it also helps if you don't have 4 people weighing in on every single one.
Yeah.
That you're in the lead.
Sweet.
But that's pure numbers there. So Matt has gone 27-16 on the year. I've gone 26-17 on the year. Alex has 17-7, and Chad is 8-4. So you do the math on that, Matt. And I don't like math at this point. Alex has 70.8%. So he's ahead of everybody. Now, as they start predicting a lot more games, we're 20 games ahead of Alex, and we're almost 30 games ahead of Chad. No, we are 30 games ahead of Chad. Chad has 66.6%, so dead, 2/3 of his picks he's got right. And then Matt, you have 62.7%. I have 60.4%. So we're all doing pretty good. I mean, we've been picking some games that are. One, we're not picking the spread. We're just picking the heads up, so that helps.
Right.
And then 2, we've been trying to pick a lot of SEC games because that's what me and Matt are most familiar with. Now that we've added Alex and Chad, and we're starting to see the bones of everybody in SEC. We're going to go ahead and axe out a lot more games. I know we established the Vandy rule at the beginning of the year. Matt did. We will not pick a Vanderbilt game unless they're playing Kentucky or Florida, which they are playing Kentucky next week.
Which actually playing back to back.
Yes, they do. So, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Shows you how much
I looked at y'all's schedule. I looked at y'all's schedule at the end before y'all's game against Georgia yesterday, and I was like, let me see who's got the easiest road, regardless who wins or loses this game.
It would have to be Georgia still. I mean,
yeah,
because we have an extra game.
Yeah, you guys got home versus Arkansas, at Vandy, home versus Kentucky, at Tennessee, and then home versus LSU. Yeah. Those were your 5 remaining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had the hardest road to get to Atlanta, too. I mean,
yeah.
And it all shakes out. They played Alabama. We played Texas A&M. And then our other crossovers, it's hard to weigh, though. You got Mississippi State, Ole Miss. Who's better out of that? We'll see, I guess.
Yeah. Right.
Both of Arkansas. And then at the end, I mean, do you give LSU the edge over Auburn? No. because Auburn beat the dog shit out of LSU. So they had the hardest schedule when it all pieced out, and that was everybody's complaint going into the season. So I mean, when they started doing the crossover games, picking out the 10-game SEC schedule, everybody complained, "Oh man, Georgia got all the pancake games and all that." You know? Well, it ended up not working out for them anyway.
Yeah.
2 games that they had on their schedule ended up being losses. Yeah. I can't remember what we were going on about. What were we going on before this?
We were talking about like our overall picks and stuff.
Yeah, I was giving the disclaimer about the teams we're not picking anymore.
Yeah.
Disclaimer:
Yeah.
If you're an Ole Miss, Mississippi State, South Carolina, or Tennessee fan, sorry, we're not picking any more games.
No.
Unless they play Kentucky or Florida or somehow get a bowl game against a big time bowl. No, I don't think any of those teams that I just mentioned are making it to a bowl game. So sorry, we're not picking you. And also, I see you, James Franklin. We ain't picking a damn one of your Penn State games. No. I mean, what the hell? 0-3.
0-3, man. 0-3.
Football's rolling in this grave, man.
God.
Sandusky's over here somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Beating off. He'd love every minute of this, man. Is he still alive?
I know, man.
Jared Sandusky?
I don't know.
You don't keep
I don't know
up?
if he is or not. If he is, he's still in prison.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. He's someone's bitch right now.
Might be out there on Epstein Island somewhere. Who knows? Oh, that's another one we didn't say. Looks like Trump lost the election.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. I think we both predicted Trump would win that. So we both took L's that week. Mm-hmm. Anything else, Matt? Anything else you saw in college football? Give me one take on college football. And oh yeah, I gotta give you Florida. Looking ahead for the rest of the year because it's been a while since I've been able to.
Yeah, you guys were off for 3 freaking weeks. It's just like, good God. But nah, man. If I had to, with Kentucky being out this week, this is always my kind of my layback week to see some of these other games, watch some of these other teams that are going to be college football playoff favorites and conference favorites and all that. But we're getting down to the nitty gritty now. We're getting ready. We're coming up on week 11 of the season. This is, like you've said already, taking shape. Things are going to start taking shape now. The entire Division I college football landscape is back. All Power 5 and Group of 5 conferences are playing now. And it's just awesome to finally see that. But I think there's going to be a fun last month and a half of the season to see where all this goes.
It is. It's going to be an accelerant of, like stress for everybody.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
This year, more than any other year, you have no idea how the playoffs committee is going to pick it. I mean,
that's right.
Unless we see a bunch of teams win out, like Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, if we start seeing some of those teams fall, I know Clemson just lost, but if we start seeing some other teams fall,
yeah,
we have no idea. Especially for the fourth team. Who the hell is it going to be?
Yeah.
Is it going to be the Pac-12 champion? Is it going to be the Big 10 champion? Big 12 champion, or is it going to be a runner-up? I can't see it being a runner-up in the Big 4, Big 10.
No,
it's not enough. There's not enough top 10, top 15 matchups. Got to be the ACC or SEC.
Yeah.
Wait. So Clemson's already got to win over a top 10 team, and so does Notre Dame. So one of those two teams will likely make it to the playoff. If not, the same thing. You got 3 teams now in the SEC that have top 10 wins. So, only one of those, maybe 2 of those, if any, slides in the back door, but we'll see. As far as Florida going forward, it's exciting. It's a position we haven't been in 4 years. We're finally fully in control of our destiny to get to the Atlantic. I mean, every year you're in control of your own destiny, but every time we get to the cocktail party, we lose. So we're waiting for Georgia to, take an extra loss or something like that. So it's now big boy time. You got to strap up your pants. You got all the games that are winnable. Kind of the inverse of what it normally is, where you kind of play the easier teams at the beginning, and then it starts picking up. But it helps to have LSU being the way they are now. I don't think they're going to be the way they are now, December 12th, when we go to play them. If we go to play them. Some people think that we're not going to end up having to play that game. But yeah, Tennessee is fucking terrible, man. I don't see a November for Tennessee. That's something we didn't bring up, right? Took an L in November for the first time in 3 years. And then Kentucky's just, hate to say it, but they're falling off, man.
Oh yeah, I mean it is what it is, Bub. I mean,
it's just we said it going into the season. It's crazy how this season's gonna look, and I know that Kentucky's probably lost more games than they should have to this point. They should have been able to squeak out that Ole Miss game, and they definitely had a chance to beat Missouri. They just couldn't string up any offense at all.
Yeah. Kentucky's record should be flipped than what it is.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, without those 4 games, those out of conference games, you're starting to see teams that are buckled, like really, because it's one thing to have a team like Kentucky currently, or the last couple of weeks. Let's rewind a couple of weeks ago when they lost to Missouri. Kentucky would have been a 5-2 team going into that game. Tell me that's more confidence than being a 2-2 team going into that game. You know what I mean? It's just it's things like that we undervalue, is the confidence you can build for teams like, no offense again, Matt, but teams like Kentucky, where you're really satisfied with getting to a bowl game, but you want to compete for the SEC East, and you want to make it to one of the it doesn't have to be a New Year's Six bowl, but an Outback Bowl, a Citrus Bowl, games like that. That's where you want to be. Obviously, if you get anything more than that, you're happy. But not having all those warm-up games, it hurts more than anybody else. Does Alabama learn anything when they beat the hell out of Duke? No. Does Florida learn anything when they beat New Mexico State? No. For Kentucky, it does matter, because one, you gain confidence, and they get to see the depth of their team in those games. But yeah, it's exciting, man. Who's Kentucky this week, Mandy?
Yeah, we return to action this Saturday. We're home versus Vanderbilt. So
what's the end of their schedule? We kind of went over Florida.
We go, all right, so we're back this week. We're home versus Vandy. Mm-hmm. Then we got to go to Alabama. Woohoo, so much fun. Then we go to the Swamp and play you guys. And then we end the season at home versus South Carolina.
Wow. Jesus.
So if I had to give you a record right now, 2-2.
2-2.
Yeah. Win the 2 home games, lose the 2 road games.
Yeah.
So, and all I'm asking for in those road games, just be competitive. Don't get blown out. Just be competitive.
Yeah.
That's all I'm asking. So
I'm going to make a bold prediction. Both Alabama and Florida score less points against Kentucky than they did against Florida. Both. I'm making that bold prediction. You can say whatever you want with that. They're protecting players. All I need is to get to Atlanta now. But I think without question, I think that Georgia's number one SEC defense is starting to look a little bit of crap. Obviously,
Yeah.
with the injuries against Florida, can't deny that. But I think Kentucky's defense schematically looks a lot better versus Alabama. And I don't think Kentucky's got an answer for Kyle Pitts. I don't think they have an answer for Najee Harris. But I
No,
think
we don't.
outside of that, I think they can manage. You know, they're pretty solid. And, I mean, we've seen Kentucky play Alabama tough in the past, 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
And they always play Florida tough. So I think both of those games, Kentucky could, if they get confidence this week, if they settle with a quarterback, Gatewood, is Gatewood going to be a starter?
As far as I know right now, Gatewood is still the starter. So
As long as you have that confidence that your offense can go out and score points. I mean, it's easy to play defense when you got a good offense because you're playing with free confidence. I mean, you pretty much can guarantee your team is going to outscore the other team. You play a lot more loose. You're not pressing as much. Teams that have a great defense and a terrible offense seem to play really good for the first 3 quarters. And then by the fourth quarter, they don't care at that point. How much production do you need from it? You know what I mean? We're doing it. I mean, you saw in the Georgia game, 14-3. Right? Anybody could have said if we kept Georgia to 14 points, we should have won that game.
Oh yeah.
Kentucky's got to right shit. Now they're coming off their bye week, right?
Right.
Yeah. Bye week before Vanderbilt. My God.
I know. I wish the bye week was a week later and have 2 weeks to prepare for Alabama. So
just give us a whole season to prepare for that Alabama game.
Yeah, just give us the whole season to prepare for Alabama.
I know. Well, look what we get. I mean, if things pan out, hopefully they do. But if things pan out, I mean, we're playing Bama when they get a week off, and we get to play LSU the week before Alabama. And again, I don't think LSU's going to be dog duty like it was Auburn. I mean, we were seeing a great LSU offense every week until that Auburn game. So hopefully they get that corrected. Hopefully they don't get corrected enough that they can beat Florida. But playing that bye week before Bama would be nice. That's for sure. Hopefully that's the seasons are back and canceled.
Oh hell yeah.
Irrelevant game. Nobody cares
yeah.
about you. I remember a few years ago where they had to reschedule the game because you wouldn't be eligible for the SEC championship if you didn't play.
Oh yeah.
So I wonder what it would look like if they canceled. The SEC said, you know what, we don't need to see the Florida LSU game this year. That would be hilarious. I mean, LSU fans would lose their effing mind. But it would be funny to see that because even if they wouldn't play that game, I mean, Florida's got a lot of bad blood for LSU. People don't, go find out.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, that'll do it, man. That might be one of our longest videos. It was nice to be able to sit here and chit chat for a while, Yeah. Well, again, everybody, if you like what you're seeing, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell. Even a like would help us out. We're not trying to expand this to a crazy community. We're just trying to get our voices out there. Also, you kind of just interact with some of the community. So if you feel like you're dropping a comment, tell us how bad our videos are, how bad my audio is. Matt can never get the camera angle correct here.
Yeah, exactly.
Feel free to do so. If you hate our picks, you think we're a bunch of monkeys making picks, go ahead and tell us that too. But as it stands, that'll do it for this week. And we'll see you on Tuesday.